Tell us a story.
Yes, tell us a story.
Alrighty, it rained a little bit last night, not much, just a little, but it is cold. It is about 30 degrees. So there's anything that didn't get soaked in or hit under is frozen pretty solid. So we're going to have to let the gopher do her thing and warm up. Got all that nice clean oil in it now, so that's good. I am reminded of a time. Oh, it's story time. I'm reminded of a time I had some type of a weird dream last night, which is pretty normal for me. But I reminded of a time it mentioned something on one of the chats with Dante, or one of the things about mixing sterno and sulfur to make a really acidic, high intensity type of smoke bomb, real smelly, stinky smoke bomb. Well, we first made those when I was a kid. We used to go hunting, and we'd get a group of the family, be my dad and my cousins and my uncle and me, and I was usually the youngest out of the group that went hunting way back. We used to go groundhog hunting. Groundhogs used to be horrendous in this area for ruining pasture fields, farm fields and stuff. You'd be going along with a tractor, and if you were on a tricycle tractor, the front end would just drop straight in a groundhog hole and you would be screwed. Be a whole lot of hoisting, digging and jacking up to get that out of there. So we would go groundhog hunting. Lower the population, cut down on what was going on. Well, I was the youngest, and I've been handling guns since I was 5-ish. My first job was to make sure all the weapons were cleaned before they went out, cleaned and lubed before they went out, and cleaned and lubed when they came back in, and handled those for years. So the thing was, when we started out and everything, you started out with a single shot. You started out with a single shot 22. You started out with a single shot 16 gauge or a single shot 410. Everybody else was carrying snail clips, magazine clips, whatever, so they could pull the trigger 16 to 30 times. I'm hunting with a little Springfield bolt action single shot. No magazine, just a straight unbolt feed bolt, and it was a 22. I think it would take a 22 long, not a long rifle. I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, so if we went out and the groundhogs would see you or hear you coming and stuff, they just whistle. They just go and a real loud whistle, and they just all zoop down into the holes. Well, we'd sneak out into these fields and we'd scope out their holes and we'd find out where they were. And usually a groundhog will go in like a north trajectory, come out a south trajectory, and then almost make an escape hole either east or west. We would find the group of holes and we would take a can of sterno, and sterno is basically napalm. Jellified, that has a white gas base that burns really, really, really clean and really, really hot. They came in little canisters, and we would take a bag, a small burlap, 1 pound, 2 pound burlap bag, and you would start the sterno and take a 1 or 2 pound burlap bag full of sulfur. And you used to be able to get chemicals, so you could go to any drugstore and you could get all kinds of chemicals. Nowadays, because of what it is and where we are and what's happening nowadays, you can't get any of that stuff. But back then on the farm, you could get just about anything you wanted. And you would take that and you'd light the sterno and you'd put the bag on top of it, and it would start to burn, and it makes your eyes burn. You can't breathe, and it is just a stench, just like pure burning sulfur. And you would toss it into the hole, just because usually the groundhogs will go in a hole and then go down and make a ledge, and then they'll turn left or right and for the water trap and everything. So then it'll go back up so that any water or anything that comes in the hole will not flood their den, but will flood into the waste hole. You can set it down in there, and then we'd take a 5-gallon bucket, big steel 5-gallon bucket, and set on top of that hole. Well, within a few minutes, you could see where the vent holes and the escape hatches were for these groundhogs. And you would see it coming out, and it would be drifting out. So usually my job was to set on the bucket and watch the holes while everybody else was looking. Yeah, I mean, I was usually the bird dog and go in the bush and shake the bush and get the rabbits out and stuff. So they didn't send the dog in there. If we took a dog along, the dog was treated good. I was put in, anyway, that's a whole nother story. So you'd set on these buckets and you'd see this just nasty. It looked like all hell was coming up. And it was smoky and nasty and smelly, and then you'd see one hole that nothing was coming out of. And that's usually the hole that you would watch. Because that means that the groundhog has puffed himself up in that hole to block what's the stench that's coming in, the smoke and everything. And if you watch that hole, sooner or later he'll come up. He'll either come up into the bucket where you are, which you can't get out, but that's a ride in itself, let me tell you. Or he'll come out and go out that hole. So they'd watch and they'd shoot. Got a lot of groundhog that way. Learned a lot about chemistry and making small smoking, very acidic devices. You know, so that come up. And other ways that we would hunt, we would find a ridge, and we would see groundhogs on the next ridge. So we'd come up to a ridge and we'd lay down. We'd do our little crawl up and lay down, and then we'd count to a certain number, and we'd all stand up and empty our guns. That was supposed to be the whole theory. Empty the guns on this groundhog so we could get it before it would go back in the hole. We'd all line up along this ridge, get ready to stand up. They'd give the word. These guys would stand up. I'd pull my single shot up, and I couldn't see or hear anything because all that was going on was pow, 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 pow. And I'd look. The dust would finally clear, and there'd be no groundhog. They missed him. They shot 40, 50 times with these snail clips and all of these semi-automatics and all this stuff. Nothing. So this happened several times, and they all laugh and whatever and stuff like that, and I'm looking, I didn't even get to shoot. So this happened several times, and then it happened again one last time, and the dust cleared. So I just took my gun and went, bam! And they all stopped and looked at me like I was a complete idiot. I said, well, at least I got to finally shoot something. We're gonna go ahead and head into the store, and we'll see what the day brings. Let's see if we're moist out there. No, that's all on the inside. Let's ride. Yeah, I pretty much was treated as the dog or the retriever or basically the gopher. They needed something back in the truck. Don, go for that. Go for this. Do that. Go in there, shake that bush, stomp through those weeds, go out there and run through that swamp and see if there's any rabbits while they're setting up someplace waiting to shoot whatever it is. But yeah, I just recalled that, and it was just hilarious to me to them guys just empty their weapons and get nothing. So finally, I just shot into the same hole that they made with all their guns, and they looked at me like I was crazy. I didn't have anything to shoot at. I didn't get to shoot. You guys dumped out half of Walmart's ammo supply into the ground. That was another thing. You used to be able to go back and get ammunition, 22s and 410s, 16 gauge, 12 gauge shotgun shells, slugs. You used to be able to just buy them by the crates because we used to do trap shooting, claybird pigeon shooting. And and then we started reloading on, and now we don't rely on anybody to get it. We just, we take care of ourselves. So. Well, I'm going to go in here and start my day. I have a lot of things to do for a couple of organizations up in Troy. They've ran into some problems with computers that they thought they were getting a good deal on. Come to find out, they are not designed or made. They need to be run off of a mainframe. So I'm going to convert them over to be a self-contained supported PC. So far, they've been to 3 other places and nobody else has been able to do it. They say it can't be done. I've done it in the past. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna go do my thing. Y'all take care of each other, please. Do your thing. See ya!
Story time is over!
Damn, that was annoying.